The unforgivable attack. The UNS Mercy gleamed against the darkness of space, its pristine white hull adorned with massive red crosses visible from light years away. As the vessel approached the war-torn Talaxian colony, Captain Elena Reyes ran final checks on the medical supplies in the cargo hold. Earth's premier hospital ship carried no weapons, only doctors, medicine, and hope for thousands of refugees caught in the crossfire of the Krell Empire's brutal expansion. Approaching Talaxian refugee station, reported Navigator Shen, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface, transmitting medical vessel identification on all frequencies as per protocol. Captain Reyes nodded, brushing a strand of silver-streaked black hair from her face. 25 years in the Terran fleet had earned her this command. A ship dedicated to healing, not harm. After the bloodshed she'd witnessed in the border wars, commanding the Mercy felt like redemption. Krell vessels detected, announced Lieutenant Commander Jackson from Tactical. His normally steady voice carried an edge of concern. 3 warships have altered course. They're accelerating toward us. A murmur of unease rippled through the bridge crew. The Krell were known for their aggression, but even they respected the ancient laws of war. Hospital ships were sacrosanct across civilized space. They'd received our identification, confirmed Communications Officer Paddle. Krell Command acknowledges our neutral status, Captain. Reyes relaxed slightly. Continue approach as planned. Alert medical teams to prepare for triage. We'll likely have burned victims from the orbital bombardment. The first plasma bolt struck without warning. The impact sheared through the Mercy's port medical bay, instantly killing the doctors preparing emergency supplies. Emergency klaxons blared as atmosphere vented into space. Screams and warnings flooded the communications channels. Evasive maneuvers. Reyes shouted, but the hospital ship's civilian engines were designed for reliability, not agility. The second bolt disabled their propulsion. This is UNS Mercy to Krell vessels. Patel broadcast desperately. We are a non-combatant medical ship. Ceasefire immediately. The third bolt targeted life support. All hands to evacuation pods, ordered Reyes, her voice unnaturally calm, as she triggered the ship-wide alert. Emergency protocols. Get everyone out. Dr. Kwan, the chief medical officer, appeared on the bridge communication screen, his face streaked with blood. Captain, we have patients who can't be moved. The surgical bay is. His transmission cut off as the fourth bolt struck the ship's core. The UNS Mercy, with 412 doctors, nurses, and crew aboard, fragmented into burning debris. The Krell warships didn't bother collecting survivors from the scattered escape pods. Instead, they opened fire on them one by one. In the darkness of space, only 12 crew members survived, rescued hours later by a passing Arcturian merchant vessel. In the Terran Alliance Council chamber on Earth, Admiral Marcus Chen watched the recovered black box footage in silence. Behind him, 50 council members sat motionless, faces ashen with shock and grief. When the recording ended, the room remained quiet for several heartbeats. The Krell Empire claims it was a targeting error, said Defense Minister Oko, her voice tight with suppressed fury. They offer reparations and claim their weapons systems malfunctioned. Admiral Chen turned to face the council, his expression perfectly composed, betrayed only by the cold fury in his eyes. The Mercy transmitted identification on 23 frequencies. The Krell acknowledged receipt. Their targeting systems then executed 4 precision strikes followed by the methodical destruction of escape pods. This was no error. What do you propose, Admiral? Asked President Takahashi. Chen's voice was quiet but carried to every corner of the chamber. Protocol Nemesis. A ripple of shock passed through the chamber. Protocol Nemesis existed only as a theoretical response to the most severe violations of interspecies law. It had never been implemented in humanity's 2 centuries of interstellar relations. 78% of the Mercy's crew were civilians, Chen continued. Doctors who took oaths to heal any being regardless of species or allegiance. The Krell didn't just kill our people, they targeted those who represent humanity's highest ideals. This cannot stand. President Takahashi studied Admiral Chen, then the faces of each council member. The vote was unanimous. Protocol Nemesis is authorized, she said softly. May whatever gods the Krell worship have mercy on them. We will not. Across the Sol system, reserve officers received encrypted recall orders. Mothballed warships awakened from decades-long slumber, their systems warming as skeleton crews brought reactors online. Within 72 hours, the greatest armada in human history assembled in high Earth orbit. 317 warships, from nimble corvettes to the massive dreadnoughts that had served in the Proxima Centauri campaign. On the flagship Retribution, Admiral Chen addressed the fleet commanders. The tactical display showed Krell territory, 8 star systems along the Orion Arm. The Krell believe they've taken the measure of humanity, Chen said, his voice calm but implacable. They see our diplomatic outreach as weakness, our humanitarian aid as naivety, our respect for life as a deficiency to exploit. He paused, surveying the grim faces before him. They are mistaken. We offered them our best, our healers, our compassion. They responded with contempt and cruelty. Now they will learn what humanity is capable of when provoked. Commander Diane Wei of Special Operations spoke up. Rules of engagement, sir. We are not the Krell, Chen replied. We target military installations only. No civilian populations, no hospital ships, no refugee centers. We are coming for their ability to make war, not to mirror their atrocities. Lieutenant General Okafor, commanding the Marine Expeditionary Force, nodded in approval. And the Krell leadership. Chen's expression hardened. Those who ordered the attack on the Mercy will face justice. Not vengeance, justice. We will bring them back to Earth to stand trial for crimes against humanity. As the commanders dispersed to their ships, Captain Vivian Torres of the Retribution remained. She had served under Chen for 15 years and knew him better than most. Sir, she said quietly when they were alone, the Krell outgun us in their home systems. Their planetary defenses are formidable. Yes, Chen acknowledged. We will take losses, heavy ones. The Council knows this. They do, as do the volunteers of this fleet. Chen's gaze turned to the viewport where Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness. Sometimes, Captain Torres, the cost of doing nothing exceeds the cost of action. If we allow this atrocity to pass with mere diplomatic protests and accepted reparations, we signal to the galaxy that humanity's mercy can be exploited without consequence. He turned back to the tactical display, studying the long journey ahead. The Krell believed they were sending a message with their attack. They succeeded, but not the message they intended. They have awakened something they do not understand. Torres nodded slowly. When do we depart, Admiral? Dawn tomorrow, Earth time, Chen replied. Let the Krell see us coming. Let them prepare. It will make no difference. As Torres left, Chen remained alone on the bridge. On his personal tablet, he opened the file containing the names and faces of everyone who had died aboard the Mercy. 412 souls, doctors, nurses, engineers, cooks, and patients who had sought healing. You will have justice, he whispered to them, and the Krell will learn that humanity's capacity for compassion is matched only by our resolve when that compassion is betrayed. Throughout the fleet, final preparations were completed as Earth rotated toward dawn. Nuclear reactors hummed to full power, jump drives synchronized for the long voyage ahead. Marines checked weapons and armor, while medical ships, now armed with defensive capabilities, prepared for casualties. At precisely 600 hours Earth Standard Time, the largest fleet in human history vanished into jump space, bound for Krell territory. The message to the galaxy was clear. Attack humanity's healers, and you face humanity's warriors. Humanity's reckoning. High above Krell Prime, Supreme Commander Vazax received the report with disbelief. The human response made no tactical sense. Intelligence had assessed humans as cautious, reluctant warriors who avoided direct confrontation. Yet now their entire fleet, including ships thought decommissioned decades ago, had mobilized and was approaching Krell space in battle formation. They cannot seriously intend to challenge us, Vezak said, compound eyes narrowing. The attack on their medical vessel was regrettable, but merely one ship. Their response is disproportionate. Strategic Advisor Mox's exoskeleton clicked nervously. Supreme Commander, our border outposts report the human fleet is bypassing commercial lanes and civilian habitats. They appear to be targeting only military installations. Of course they are, sneered Vezak. Humans lack the resolve for total war. Their restraint will be their undoing. But 3 days later, as reports of devastation reached Krell Prime, Vezak was no longer certain. The human fleet had divided into precise strike groups, each targeting a specific military asset. They weren't attempting to hold territory or establish beachheads. They were methodically dismantling the Krell Empire's ability to make war. The orbital shipyards of Krell Sigma, destroyed. The munitions factories on Drevis II, neutralized. The command and control center on Thaxos Moon, eliminated. And still the humans advanced, their formation inexorable and their tactics adapting with each engagement. What they lacked in Krell biological advantages, the natural armor, the superior strength, they compensated for with technology and coordination that bordered on hive mind precision. We underestimated them, Mox admitted during an emergency war council. The destruction of their hospital ship united them in a way our intelligence failed to predict. They're not fighting for conquest or resources. What then? Demanded Vezak. Justice, replied Mox simply. They seek accountability for what they perceive as a war crime. Vezak slammed a clawed appendage against the tactical display. Offer them concessions. Double the reparations. Triple them. They're not responding to diplomatic channels, reported Communications Director Esri. The only message they broadcast, on all frequencies, is a list of names. The crew of their hospital ship, we believe. For the first time in his long military career, Supreme Commander Vezak felt something unfamiliar, dread. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the Retribution as they entered the Krell home system. 7 weeks of calculated strikes had brought them here, to the heart of the Empire. Their losses had been significant but acceptable. 23 ships destroyed, 42 damaged but repairable. The Krell had lost over 200 vessels and every major military installation in their outer systems. They're broadcasting surrender terms. Admiral, reported Captain Torres. Full reparations, territorial concessions, and the officers responsible for the Mercy incident to be handed over for trial. Chen considered this. Their planetary defenses, still active, Torres confirmed. They're offering terms while maintaining their shield. Then it's not truly surrender, Chen replied. It's negotiation from a position they believe is defensible. He turned to the communications officer. Broadcast this message to Krell Command. Deactivate all planetary defense systems and weapon platforms. When this is confirmed, we will discuss terms. The Krell response was immediate and predictable. A massive barrage from the planetary defense grid, followed by the launch of their reserve fleet. They had more ships hidden in their lunar bases, observed Torres with professional admiration. Clever. Expected, Chen replied. All ships execute maneuver Thanatos. What followed would later be studied in war colleges across the galaxy. The human fleet, rather than forming a defensive perimeter, accelerated toward the incoming Krell vessels. At precisely calculated intervals, the smaller, faster human ships created a dispersal pattern that divided the Krell formation. While Chen looked at the tactical display, showing the disabled Krell fleet and defenseless planet, we could have destroyed them, Eliza, completely. Some wanted to. But we targeted only their ability to make war, not their people. He turned to face her. That's the difference they fail to understand. Humanity's capacity for violence is exceeded only by our restraint in applying it. Quan's expression remained troubled. And now? Now we bring those responsible to trial. We establish terms to ensure this never happens again. And then, Chen's voice softened, then we send hospital ships again. Because that's who we are. 1 month later, in the Terran Alliance Council chamber, Admiral Chen delivered his final report on Operation Nemesis. The Krell leadership has been secured and awaits trial for crimes against humanity. Their military capability has been reduced to defensive operations only, with monitoring stations established in all their systems. The terms of surrender include significant reparations, which will fund the construction of memorial hospitals on Earth and Telex. President Takahashi nodded. And the broader diplomatic implications? Substantial, Chen admitted. Every spacefaring species watched this unfold, some with apprehension, others with approval, all with new understanding. Understanding of what? Asked Defense Minister Okoa. Of humanity's dual nature, Chen replied. Our dedication to healing and our capacity for righteous fury when that dedication is betrayed. The galaxy now knows that our hospital ships travel under the protection of our capability for war, not our aversion to it. As the council meeting concluded, Chen found himself in the memorial garden outside. The names of the Mercy's crew had been etched in luminescent crystal, glowing softly in the evening light. Among them, Captain Elena Reyes, who had believed until her final moment that no species would violate the sanctity of a hospital ship. Dr. Kwan joined him there, her face reflective as she traced the names of colleagues lost. The Krell ambassador requested to visit this memorial, she said. To pay respects, he claimed. Chen raised an eyebrow. What did you tell him? I said yes. Kwan met his surprised gaze. That's what the people commemorated here would have wanted. They dedicated their lives to healing anyone who needed it, even those who might become enemies. Chen considered this, then nodded slowly. You're right. That's who they were. He looked up at the darkening sky, where stars were beginning to appear, and ultimately, that's who we fought to remain. As night fell over Earth,